Darby Allin and Christian, they get a video, and Darby, again, as he said on Rampage, he says he's waited to be the main event for so long. Just a recap of the recent promos, but this is now officially the main event, as Kevin Kelly reiterates after this. What do you think of this being the main event of tomorrow's show?
Well, I think that obviously, it's a title match. And since the world title match isn't on there, then it makes sense to have this as your final match. The TNT title does feel bigger than it ever has. So clearly, this is just they're acknowledging that the TNT title is now a much bigger deal and that Darby and Christian has main evented a pay per view before. He main evented All In. Not this one, the one previous, or sorry, 2 years ago. But so I think that, very clearly they understand that putting a title match on at the end is the right decision. And when you've got a match that's going to be as long as 2 or 3 falls, that's something that you really want to save to the end. And I'm absolutely sure that those are the only factors that are involved in this decision.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I said yesterday that I wouldn't be disappointed if Edge, Adam Copeland didn't show up. I completely take that away because putting this match in the main event and announcing it beforehand, I think it's the clear indication. It's about as much of an indication to me as Darby Allin saying best in the world ahead of the first dance.
Exactly. So, that's what it is. And look, you've got other like MJF tweeting this photo of him meeting Edge and just like little eyes like, okay. This is not this is a company that has learned not to let speculation go too wild unless they have the goods to back it up. So I would say that if they're leaning this heavily into everything, we're getting a moment.
In your mind, how do you think that whole scene plays out? First of all, who wins this match?
Christian. I think Christian wins. And see, I don't know if you want to debut Adam Copeland as a run-in to help him out, or if you want to have him come out at the end as perhaps the next challenger and have them just do a stare down. Or there are a lot of ways that you could do this. The interesting thing is I think that there is almost an equal appetite for them to team up or for them to feud. And I tend to think they're both better as heels, but if Edge Copeland shows up, then
is that the name that you think he'll go with?
After tonight, I'm wondering if it's going to be Era. I think that seemed to be the word of the evening.
Yeah, the new Era is the other big tease. I mean, I would even say some of the thing that probably has the most intrigue next to Edge for me is this promotion of a new Era. But when you're talking about Era, you're only thinking about one stable, aren't you? Yeah, so I have to think that maybe if there's any sort of indication of like it being related to story or a roster, I have to think it might be something to do with Cole, O'Reilly, and Roddy. Era.
Well, I think a lot of
is not a very good name.
I guess the other thing is, Jay White also uses Era all the time. Like there's a lot of things floating around that it could be, but yeah, I'm not sure what we'll get with Mr. Edge Era Copeland Adam.
Yeah.
I do think when he shows up, he will get a huge babyface reaction. So the question is, do you lean into that or do you immediately subvert it?
I think at this point, like Edge is almost a bit too beloved to, be effectively booed as a heel. Like we saw it kind of with the Judgment Day. There are other issues with the Judgment Day, certainly at the time, but I think part of it for me, at least, was just Edge not really getting to the point where he's stale enough for the audience to want to see him turn. He's such a respected veteran at this point. Plus, the jump from one company to another, again, if it happens, is going to elicit such a big reaction that I don't see him joining in with Christian, especially with Christian's current character. So I would think the two of them would be feuding, first of all. But does that mean Edge gets involved in the finish and gives Darby the championship? I could see that. We are in Seattle, and to close the night off with the hometown championship win is very possible. But
I tend to think, with the hometown favorites, I think that you've got Danielson and you've got Swerve, and I think that they're both winning their matches. I get the feeling. I don't think all three are going to win.
Mhm.
I'm 99% there. I think Swerve is going to win his match. Danielson, I'm less confident, although I still think he's going to, and that means that Darby would be the one to lose. Seeing as he's already won this title in Seattle, he would be the one who I think is most likely to lose his match.
Mm. Yeah, you could be right. I wouldn't be surprised if either of the two previously mentioned could take a loss as well. I mean, certainly
Mhm.
Brian is being protected enough as sort of like the face of Collision at this point. But I mean, if there's sort of any idea of them trying to build to a rematch where Brian can get the win back, I mean, I think it's very possible. It would be a bit of a surprise.
Mhm.
Swerve, I would love to see win, but I could also see him lose as well. So.
Yeah. I think that he is less able to take another big loss. He's had a bunch of them, and I think that he really needs a statement win right now, given how hot he is.
All right, up next we've got the Righteous here in person taking on Judas Icarus and